Welcome to another video, guys. Today we're gonna be talking about Mavara and how I built mine, because I'm definitely planning on actually using this bad girl in Chimera. The champion is actually top tier, and it's even rated as 5-star over at Hell Hades, so you should know she really is that good. So I hope you find the video helpful, and if you do, would be awesome if you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday and Thursday, where I do free account takeovers for you guys. Don't forget you can download Raid from my premium download link and start Raid the right way and support the channel for free that way, and you're also gonna have 48 hours to use the promo code section for an extra amazing legendary champion. But now, let's get into the guide. So here she is, Mavara in all her glory. I just got mine to level 60, just finished off her masteries, and she is ready to start slapping, and I might even give her a try in this week's Chimera run, cause God knows she's definitely looking like quite a top tier champion right now. We've already been over her skills, but she is definitely a very unique style support champion that places the fervor buff for 2 turns on a random ally except this champion. If the randomly selected ally is already under a fervor buff, places it on another random selected ally. And here's what the fervor buff does: increases damage inflicted by 10% and reduces damage received by 10%. So it's basically like a small strengthen and also a small as if weaken, but for you, in order to be dealing the 10 extra damage. It's actually quite the unique buff, very good, and not that very many champions actually bring it to the table nowadays. The passive effect is also pretty unique because allies under a fervor buff have a 50% chance of joining the attack of other allies under a fervor buff. This champion will not join any attacks, and also if there are multiple, only one will be activated, and this skill will also not activate on duplicate copies of this champion if this particular champion is dead. So yeah, the A1 is definitely very unique, very decent, and it's also scaling off attack, which is normal, but yeah, it's definitely a very good skill to be having. The A2 is also nothing to scoff at, places 25% strengthen as well as 50% increased resistance, and the increased resistance is something you don't actually get on all that many good champions nowadays, and this will single-handedly unlock you so much extra potential for things like Titus teams, because you guys know if you're building a Titus team, he has to have a good amount of res, and with an increased res buff, that becomes a lot more bearable to do. Not only that, but this champion also equalizes the HP levels of all allies. The HP levels will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP, so that's very good, and this thing is going down to a 3-turn cooldown, which is definitely very top tier. And last but not least, we have the A3, the Web Whisper, which is a 3-turn cooldown revive, which brings back an ally with 50% HP and turn meter, and then places a perfect veil buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, also places an unkillable buff on this champion for 2 turns, and these buffs happen even if nobody was revived. So this is a very solid single target reviver, and also bringing perfect veil is super good for things like Hydra, heck even Chimera, and all sorts of things. The unkillable also is going to be helping big time, and not only that, we also have a massive passive, which for every 8 buffs the enemy team receives, increases the turn meter of all allies by 20%. But not only that, for every 16 buffs this champion and their allies receive, heals all allies by 20% of their max HP. Would have been awesome if she was also bringing turn meter boost when this is happening, but it is what it is. Would have been literally S+ tier if that was the case. But the first half of this definitely is going to be helpful for things like Arena, even though personally I will be using this champion for PvE only. Okay, with that out of the way, we can establish this champion is a classic support type champion with only buffs that we need to care about, so accuracy instantly is off the table, we don't care about it at all. And the situation is the same with 99% of all supports in the game. You will be caring massively about speed. Speed will be king with the way you build this champion, so anything that has speed would be a good idea to be bringing here. She also has an aura which increases ally speed in arena battles by 28%, which is kinda cool, but I wish it was 19 in all battles instead, even though 28 in arena is also definitely pretty good, because not that many champions are doing that, especially if you don't have things like Wukong or Armans and such. So not the worst, but would have been better for all areas if you ask me. Like I said, the build is going to be revolving around speed, and since we did notice we already have so many buffs that this champion is going to be bringing, the obvious choice would be for an endgame build to look like this, which is going to be 9-piece protection. And the reason behind that is is 9-piece protection gives you 5% more damage per each buff placed by wearer. So basically 25% extra damage for your champions if you've landed all of your buffs would be skyrocketing any team's damage. Placing protected buffs is also no joke, and the other stuff that the set gives definitely speaks to the nature of this type of champion. Gives you a lot of speed, some HP, some res, that kind of stuff. And this is basically the stats you're gonna be seeing across the build. We are gonna have the fastest boot possible with speed on the main stat, obviously like 99% of other boots, and if you can ascend it into speed, that would be premium. For everything else, what you're gonna be doing is basically go to your filters, select speed substat, prioritize speed. If you're looking for bottom row items, the best would be with defense percent, with HP percent, and if we're talking about chest, you could also go for res. And here's how I went. I went with my fastest chest, which is in res. It also brings some defense, a bunch of speed, that kind of stuff, but I could have also gone with this piece, gives a good amount of HP, again a good amount of speed, damn it, move, there you go, professional operation. But yeah, the faster the better, that's what you're looking for here. I also had this glove, which nobody was using, so might as well slap it on her, with defense, with HP, good amount of speed, can't go wrong like that. And as for the top half, basically we can just select all of these. Again, speed would be premium, and if you're having a hard time keeping her alive, you might also select HP when you're looking for your items, but still in the priority, go for speed as highest and start looking for those. So yeah, here's the items that ended up on mine. This one has accuracy for no good reason, and honestly, this is not a perfect item on her right now. Again, it was not used by anybody, so I just slapped it on just for the sake of speed, and I don't believe I'm gonna have too hard of a time keeping her alive. But if I do, obviously I could swap it out for something with a little bit more HP or res, that kind of stuff. A weapon cannot have defense percent, by the way, so keep that in mind. On the helmet, here's what we went with. Bunch of speed, some defense percent, ain't nothing wrong with that. And on the shield, same stuff, defense percent, bunch of speed. That's kind of how it's gonna go. When it comes down to accessories, and this is where people are gonna struggle actually finding themselves the 9-piece protection, try to be going for defensive accessories, obviously. HP or defense main stat on the ring, and you're gonna be looking for HP or defense percent or both in the substats. As for the amulet, HP or defense for the main stat would be best, with a bunch of res, HP or defense in the bottom. And on the amulet, here would be awesome if you have yourself something with a lot more speed than I'm having, but it is what it is. At least it has a bunch of HP and a bunch of defense, ain't nothing wrong with that. Cool thing about Mavara is her skills are literally only gonna take 4 books if you get lucky to actually max her out, because the A1 is only gonna be gaining extra damage if you book it out. So let's find out together if I'm gonna be lucky with this. I'm lucky enough to have myself a ton of books, but how you want to be booking this champion out is go with 4 legendary skill books, because that's the only thing you care about, these 2 to go +2. And if you manage to get it from the single shot, you just keep it like that. Let's see if we do. Okay, the A2 maxed, and the A1 swallowed a couple of books. It is what it is, would have been a little bit too good. Now, since we already have the A2 already maxed out, we're just gonna go with a couple of more books to see if we get lucky with this thing. And we didn't, but at least we tried, okay? At least we tried. This is how you should be approaching champions like this. If you can save yourself 4 legendary books like this, that would be absolutely awesome for you. But yeah, here's what we're having now. Fully booked out, fully decked out. That's how it's gonna go. When it comes down to relics, this champion is gonna be bringing healing and technically even turn meter boosting if you're using her for arena. So something like Journal of Necrotos would be an amazing thing to be bringing. And obviously on the gem slot, it could be nice to bring her one of these. Definitely a nice little cheap gem you could be slapping in. But personally, I will be using her for Chimera, like I said, so for me it would make much more sense for me to be bringing something like Perch Shadow in here, because in Chimera, anybody who has tried for some high amounts of trials know how important extra turns is, so I'm probably gonna be grabbing the Perch Shadow from probably my Glaciad, because this is the champion that Mavara is gonna be taking up the role for. Glaciad has been giving Perfect Veil as well as revives for my team, but Mavara is going to be doing that as well as healing and bringing all sorts of other important buffs, so that would be awesome. When it comes down to gems you could be slapping on something like that, the Blessed Heal would be a good idea, but also if you have yourself some good mythical action, Heal and Go would also be pretty awesome. Technically speaking, you could also be giving her the Magma Shield, but I would definitely not be taking the heart from my Wixspell for that, so there is that. If I had a second heart, maybe I could. And moving down to masteries, here is what I went with. quit. Again, let me move myself a little, but yeah, we basically went for the left side. God damn it, dude. You are seeing it, right? We just basically picked War Master at the end, not exactly a shocker. And technically speaking, Hell Hades did say you should also go with single out for a little bit of extra damage, and personally I also would have gone with that instead of this, but I already did go this route and then saw I forgot to put this thing, but I also grabbed this thing instead, which is something you could have skipped, but to be fair, she does heal, so might as well have this on her as well. And also, if you're having a hard time keeping her alive, you might also grab some of the defensive tree, like you could go with Tough Skin, with Blast Proof, moving down to Shadow Heal, and the really important thing would be Delay Death, because this thing is going to reduce damage quite a lot, and you can also be grabbing this thing, Retribution, which could actually help you land even more fervor buffs, but as you saw, already went with the offense instead. And when it comes down to the support tree, we went in with the classic Healy stuff. This is gonna help for extra Lore of Steel, for extra stats and speed and such. And we also grabbed the Spirit Haste, not that we needed it, but everything else on this row really doesn't matter for us. Like, we don't care about debuffs, we don't care about this either, and God knows we don't care about this, so what else would you possibly take here? Technically speaking, we could have also gone with Timely Intervention if a lot of people are dying. If we are expecting people to be dying, this thing is gonna help us with the turn meter boost, but if you're going with the offense, the whole point of going offense is to actually grab the War Master at the end, so you really can't go this way when you're going this. But if you're going for the defense tree, you definitely go with the Timely Intervention and call it a day. Let me just come back to the build. Like, obviously 9-piece protection is not gonna be something most people can actually attain in their first year of playing raids, so if you cannot go 9-piece protection, you're just gonna go for the fastest build possible. It doesn't have to be anything too specific, but technically speaking, you could just build her fast with the Relentless set, so you can get extra turns, maybe get yourself extra A1s that way. Mercurial set would be a good idea for PvP especially, but if you're going for PvP, Stone Skin would also be a good idea. Basically comes down to what you're trying to build her for, guys. Like, if it's for PvE, you go with 9-piece protection, best case scenario. Relentless could be a good idea. The Impulse set, the protection, that also might make sense, but if you're going for PvP, in that case it's gonna be Stone Skin. 9-piece Mercurial would be great, but if you're very early game, just a bunch of speed set with good speed on it, that'd be good. For the blessing, I went with Brimstone here. Hell Hades also says Survival Instinct would be a good idea if you have her at less than 5 stars, but since I did go hard on the Path event, I was happy enough to grab myself Brimstone here, and I'm not sure many of the other blessing really make too much sense here, so yeah, let's just trust Hell Hades here and call it Brimstone and call it a day. I'm not gonna be bringing her into any type of content right now. Like, it's not like we're gonna get to see anything to Da Vinci from her straight out. She is a support champion, so she's only as strong as her team around her, but yeah, she is gonna be helping you big time on all sorts of different content, and I'm very excited to actually bring her to Chimera, because she is indeed a 5-star Chimera champion. Like, here it is. Look at how good Hell Hades are rating her. 5-star all around, and look at this. Every type of PvE content, she is a 5 or at least a 4.5 star, and even on Arena, she's a 4.5, so all around, absolutely amazing stuff. So yeah, guys, do let me know in the comments if you have any other questions for Mavara, and I will be happy to answer. And if you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe would definitely be very appreciated. If you want to support the channel for free, download the game from my premium download link and start raid the right way. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Crystal5, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.